gamers, welcome to another episode of the PTGC podcast. My name is Gerard, and joining me are my co-hosts, Joe and Mike. Say hi, guys.
What up?
Uh, I would like to remind you today, if you guys like our content, make sure you like and subscribe, because we do this content every week, posting it on Thursdays and Saturdays. So make sure you subscribe to get our content. With that being said, on today's episode, we'll be talking about a new looter shooter that came out called The First Descendant. Geo has been able to pick up the game and play it, while I have played games similar to it, and Mike has actually probably watched a little bit of it. But I want to get your
I've seen
impressions on
Geo
the game.
play.
I want to get
It
your
was.
impressions on it. Starting with you, Geo. Tell me, how's the game feel, and your impressions before and while you're playing the game.
Well, I mean, I'm glad Mike mentioned it. Watching the trailer, I was kind of intrigued by it. So I wanted to test it out firsthand because I've been looking for a new game. And since it had similar elements to MMO-ish, and I knew the looter shooter feel because of being a big fan of Borderlands, I said, let me try it out. So far, I played probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think it was earlier today. And I really liked how it felt. I liked how it played mechanic-wise. I think it's got potential. Now, I know there's some current issues that the game is dealing with, even though I experienced in my first day trying it out. But as far as the gameplay feels and saying that the game has the potential to be fun, I feel like it does. I was having fun playing it, and that was just me playing by myself. That wasn't like with Mike doing co-op kind of deal with me. I like that it has the option that you can do it almost like PvE, where it could just be you and like a local network, like just like if I wanted nobody in the world and except me and Mike, you can do it like that, or you can do it with other players around the world. You can have like an MMO feel to it too. So I kind of like those elements that it has. I still, like I said, I'm just the very beginning of the game. I haven't come across yet some of the things that I know have been out there by some of the players. The game is still very new too. It only came out, I think it was July 2nd, but I think they lost a whole day due to servers being down. So I'm sure there's still a lot of brand new players trying to get a feel for the game. But so far, I like it. First impression wise, I like it so far.
All right. What about you, Mike? I know that you watched at least Geo play the game. So, what are your thoughts since you've watched it a little bit, and then some from the Xbox showcase? Or like,
Uh,
yeah.
so well, first when I got word of this game, I was seeing other people were playing, and I actually was just saw the trailer, and then that's when I linked it, and I think that's why I got Gio to start playing. I didn't know he was gonna play right away, but I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. It's a shooting kind of game, and different classes, different characters. I haven't partaked into playing it since I was didn't have the time yet. I do plan on dabbling into it to see how good it is, and from what I've seen from Geo's gameplay, didn't look too bad, and I'm intrigued in how far once we get into the game itself, how far you can take it. But like I said, it looks interesting. The trailer was good. I like the trailer, and I'm sure it'll be good. But I mean, we'll see. I'll get into it tonight. I'll play tonight.
All right. Well, I do think it's positive that we have three different outlooks on this. As I said, I've played similar games to this. In my long time, I played Destiny 2 and Warframe. Both are very similar to the game. They're both looter shooters. One with Destiny 2 being MMO light, with the same kind of game work on that. And in those games, I've seen similarities to the grind necessarily, but also the monetization. And I wanted to bring up that issue that most of the consumers are having nowadays with them, which is the predatory nature of the game. Now, in Destiny 2, you can purchase items. Majority of the things you purchase though are cosmetics, but there are things that you have to either purchase or grind and kind of hide behind paywalls that are like in expansions which you have to buy, so they become kind of pay to win in that aspect. And we don't know if First Descendant is going to go down that path as well, where certain weapons in a looter shooter is behind DLC content or expansion content that can only be purchased. Warframe try to stick away from it. It's mostly free to play in that aspect, and in order to get majority of the content, you would have to grind. But there is that kind of pay to win functionality in Warframe as well, because like if I don't want to spend the time grinding, I could just pay for the things I need. What are your guys' thoughts, starting with Mike this time, on that aspect of things for a shooting game to lock guns behind kind of a paywall? What are your thoughts?
I mean, considering it's free to play, I mean, I don't mind it if you're choosing to do it. If that's your prerogative, that's for it. And then if people tend to buy it, that's really on them. You know, they have the option. I guess that there's a negative view to it, but for me personally, like, if I know I'm not inputting any kind of money, it's free to play, and if I want something and I have the monetary means to get it, maybe I'll buy it if it's the option. I don't know, but I don't see an issue for me personally. But I could see where it can go down a rabbit hole for other individuals that may not have the means to buy it, to have that method, I guess. But I have no qualms over it. If I don't choose to buy it, I just play another game, to be honest. If I need that to, you know, affect the outcome of the game or affect, you know, to win, then I either decide to choose another game to play or take the leap and buy it. I don't know. How about you, Gio? I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, I mean, we spoke about this numerous times with this kind of game structure setup. I don't hate the idea of being able to buy like a legendary weapon or an epic weapon, however they do it, if they do it like that, or skins. I don't have a problem with that. If, and this is a big if, skins I don't care about. Skins are skins. But the weapon itself, like say you can buy these weapons, I don't have a problem if you can get those weapons or similar weapons as good or better through in-game content. I don't have that problem. Like it's all based on how they structure the game. So if I can get something equivalent to that weapon that you're purchasing through in-game content, I just might have to grind a little more, a little harder than you. I'm okay with that. If it means I'm saving some money, fine, I'll do it that way. Now, if I don't have the time and I'm okay with purchasing something like that, because say that weapon or item that I want to get is a little difficult of a grind to do normally in game, and I want to kind of like pay to get it because of, being more casual gamer, realistically, that's what we are in comparison to back in the day. I'm okay with that too. But like, it has to be that I can get it in game as well. Because if I'm okay with, say, hey, I got a few days off, I want to just, grind a little bit, and I can get it that way, then I'm gonna do that. Rather than purchasing it. They do have some issues. Now, of course, I've only played. You saw me, Mike. It was only like an hour and a half, 2 hours that I played, so I don't know yet. But I know there's been a lot of backlash on the microtransactions of the game, where players are very upset about it. Like I said, we've talked about this gacha games and the exploitations that they apparently are doing in this game just as well. So I haven't come across it yet, so I don't know yet. But like I said, it's one of those things. If I can get it in game, I can get equivalent or better in game through grinding and normal like late game content, stuff like that, then I'm okay with it. I don't care if you paid for it, that's fine, as long as I can get it. Now, if it's something I can't get without buying, I have a huge problem with it. Huge problem. Because then you just try to
Will you stop playing?
Yes, absolutely. It will stop me. Yes.
Right. I would like to say two things. So first, Uh, ooh, uh, first is gacha games are not exploitative. They just have dark patterns. You can play the game free to play in gacha games, majority of gacha games,
Yeah.
and then grind the resources to get what you need. It's just that FOMO that's really playing a part of gacha games.
Uh,
So
Not to
that
interrupt you real quick though,
what?
but gacha games make it like they make it really hard to get those resources. Like extreme. It's not like a normal grind. You know what I
It's
mean?
not that they're hard. It's that they're separated. So you would have
Mhm.
to do multiple things in order to get the resources for them. It's not like one place you're like, oh, if I grind this for like 4 hours, I'll get all the things you need. No, you have to play the game like every day to make sure you get the resource. You have to do your dailies, you have to do your weekly, then you have to do the grind, and then monthly they have a dungeon system, and then
A
like
little
games like
excessive.
Wuthering Waves that have like multiple quests, things like it's not that the grind is hard, it's the grind is tedious. That's different though. But it's still available in game to do that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But and my comparison is I and my second point is I actually personally do not like if someone can buy something that would take me a longer time in game, especially for games like looter shooters, because in a looter shooter, pay to win is someone able to do the content faster and easier if they pay money, and I have to grind to do the same content that is going to one, make it harder, but two, I have to waste double the amount of time. So games like Destiny 2 is a good example. If I get like DLC, or Destiny 2 is probably a bad example, but like if I get a DLC and the DLC I get the premium edition and it gives me a free gun, rather than I have to go grind this mission and get the drops and then get the mat, and then I can get the gun, but then I have to get another thing to upgrade the gun, rather than I pay it. Now, not only am I saving time, but I get to do the harder content earlier, which means I get to experience the game quicker than other people. So now in that PvE kind of setting, I am kind of doing the events quicker and basically getting more stuff faster and progressing through the story faster than other players. So in that PvE setting is kind of winning, but and this is a question I have for about First Descendant because I don't know anything about it. This also translates to PvP. If I can get a gun before all the people who are free to play can get the gun, that means I can use the gun in PvP before any of them can use that gun. And if the gun's overpowered, then we have an issue where like, oh, the people who are whales are the strongest people in PvP because they spent money.
Well, for now, until you grind it
Yeah.
and get it.
Well,
But I was gonna combat that.
But
So
that's
let
like
me
a
ask you
week.
this.
That's a week
No.
of not playing PvP.
All right. So I don't know how Final Fantasy 14 does it, but Mike could tell you in World of Warcraft, for PvP, it's different gear sets, even the weapons and everything like that. So if they separate it like that, and in PvP, you have to earn those weapons from actually doing PvP matches, earning points, stuff like that. Would you care about the PvE? Because I'm speaking from the PvE aspect. I do not care if you can buy it. I'm willing to grind it. Now, if they do it, that it translates that they can use that weapon in PvP, then I will definitely have a huge problem with it. I think they should have a separation because, like in World of Warcraft, they put resilience on PvP items. So, like your basic PvE items they're trash in PvP. They're just trash. Well, they were. I don't know if they changed it, Mike. You could correct me on that. But I know you needed resilience ratings on your weapons and stuff like that to make it fair for PvPers that mainly focused on PvP and didn't really do the PvE dungeons, didn't have the big guilds, but they could still get the best PvP gear because they grinded PvP matches. So if this game does that, I will have no issue. But like you said, yes, I would have a huge issue if you can buy that weapon and then take it into PvP and you're like in all green armor, but you have a freaking legendary weapon. I got a problem.
Just shoot better.
Just shoot better. What I was going to, Mike?
Get good.
I'm sorry, but like Destiny 2 is an example of this. And it's been a long time since I played Destiny 2, so it's a hard time to remember. But there was a revolver that you get through the story quest, and you either have to grind to get the upgrade to unlock the ability for the revolver, or you can just pay for the mat and they would immediately unlock it. It was the best PvP weapon and still was until I left the entire time. And the way to grind the event took at least 2 weeks to get. Because funny enough, the only way to get the mat is to play in PvP with the weapon when it doesn't have the ability. So you were playing in PvP with a weapon that had no abilities compared to people who was able to grind or pay for it before you could. And then you were just losing to that weapon all the time because they just one-tap you.
Like Mike said, get better at shooting, bro.
Get better.
Let's tell you.
I mean,
Grind.
if they...
Like,
Even
so here's the thing, okay?
in PvP,
I get it. People gonna buy it, and it's gonna suck. It's always gonna suck. But that's the mentality you need to have. If you don't want to pay for it, and you want to just grind it, just go do the suck until you could grind and get it, and you be on equal playing field.
my
get it.
recommendation is don't play the game. Just stop playing those games. Stop rewarding the predatory practices. Just don't play the game.
People
Don't
think
let-
the game is fun. If the game is fun,
Well,
you're gonna play it.
Gerard, I just said if they do it that you can actually
Well,
access
no,
those weapons in
yes.
PvP, I wouldn't play. It just wouldn't.
And
But
I
there
do
are
wanna,
people that would play it though.
Yeah, yeah. No, and that's like Mike said though, if they're willing to do that and that's the game they want to play, then that's all them. I mean, I get it. The predatory aspect that the game has kind of turns us off because we're more of the old school mentality and grinding for it. And we want that accomplishment, that feeling of achievement that you get from actually doing the grind. Some people don't care about that, bro. That's just how it is, and maybe that's just not the game for us. Like I said, if I run into that in this game, it's gonna turn me off. I'm just gonna stop playing.
and I personally, even, and this is another personal opinion, it might be a hot take. Even if I enjoy a game, if I see either pay to win or a bad practice in a game, I would still stop playing it, even if I enjoyed the game. Because I don't want to favor and reward bad habits and bad game design. I don't want to give them more of a reason to keep putting this in games.
I would tell you
It's
this
all-
though.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah, you can.
I
You
was just saying
can't
that.
please everybody. However, there are companies that major fucking example, Helldivers 2. Everyone complained about the PSN being putting back on. The huge complaints. People stopped playing, and then now they put it back in. Now, the Helldivers 2 also received a huge backlash when their player drops also dropped because Sony being, taking it out of the ability to even be played on Steam for certain regions. So that's another thing. But if you keep, if we make decisions with our money more often, there will be more companies. The fact that we go, it's going to keep happening is not an excuse to just let it happen.
You're right. And that's where I was going to combat you on, because I was going to say,
Right.
you just said that you would stop playing if you see the bad practices.
Mhm.
Instead of stop playing, you need to voice it. You need to you need to put them on blast. Like I told you already, this game has already been put on blast by the player base. Like, to give you an idea, they commented on multiple platforms because it's a cross-platform game. The game is too greedy already, and that's only we're 3 days in, and it's already being called too greedy. Like, the practices are not good. Because a lot of the complaints were specifically about the customization options, which turned out to be extremely expensive. Now, I don't know because I haven't tried to purchase anything. So, and they're already saying that basically they're requiring, like, their player base is already demanding that they adjust this already. So if this game wants to take off past a nice little week of game player base, it's got to do something already. So there's already a lot of players getting fed up with what you're saying. And I agree. Like me, I would probably not care enough to actually start a thread on Reddit or something like that and get like but if you really feel that strongly about it, then you got to look at it taking a different action. And players that look at it like you, they got to take different action. For me and Mike, we don't care enough. We're just going to stop playing.
Yeah.
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 Except
And,
for
and
us.
and I will say I have been on forums. I've also voiced complaints on like not Reddit, but like uh the larger broadcasts like God, not Twitter. I don't want to say Twitter. I don't want to say Twitter. What is it? What is it
It's
called?
called X
God.
now.
X, buddy.
Formerly
No,
known
no,
as Twitter,
not
though. They
not.
say it
I
every
don't.
time.
I don't want it. I don't want it. But in larger things. Also, I would also like to say Final Fantasy doesn't have PvP gear. It doesn't even have PvE gear. All gear synced up. So you go in as the same level as everyone else. And the only difference is your abilities because you go in as a class. So
Okay.
it is just skill based and class based. Certain
It's class
classes.
based.
Good system.
Definitely not skill based.
I mean,
It's
there
gonna
are
be class based.
if two
If a class
people.
is overpowered, you're gonna win no
Yeah,
matter
what
what
class is
amount you go
overpowered?
put
You
in.
know what it is, Gerard. Say
Yeah,
it, because you
you
probably
can't
play
really.
it.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is that each class, like DP, I don't play there's two different types of PvP. There's like team PvP, and then there's like what I would consider battlefield PvP, which is called front lines, which is like 32 people versus 32 people versus 32 people.
Okay.
What? Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like a Ground Wars times
Yeah,
2.
that's why I was like, it was like I play that one because it gives you extra XP. But then there's the actual PvP, and it depends on how your team makeup is because team synergies is more important than skills. Because yes, you'll have a tank, and the tank will just take damage. Yes, there are better tanks, but you can share tanks. So or you can both pick the same tank class. So if both of you picking the same OP class, that means that it become a skill difference between the two of you.
It's just
So,
a better. Whoever has the overall better team, and team makeup.
team
class.
makeup and team synergy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
That's why I like WoW Arena.
yeah,
Why is
yeah,
that?
exactly. But
Just 'cause,
wow,
yeah, we have to say class skills, but gear and synergy does play a role into it.
Yeah.
Like
gear
why-
does. Gear does.
somewhat, yeah, somewhat of it plays a role, but it also plays skills on the class, skills, but it's just marginal better in terms of, like grinding for something. Like right now I'm doing a lot of arenas with my rogue, and when I started off, I was getting freaking murked because I didn't have any kind of resilience, but
Yeah.
but it's something to climb with though, and so I start getting gear, getting better resilience gear, getting better PvP gear, and it's like there's blues and epics, I honor doing regular PvP and then arenas.
Yep.
So it gives me a goal, and I like that. It gives me a goal to kind of get better at the gear and get better in arenas, and as I'm enjoying my rogue, and while my shaman is just raiding and just raid logs, but other than that, besides that point, that's why I like when you say it's just no gear, just strictly
Skill based.
spells and maybe skills.
Yeah.
It's kind of not. It's not really. I don't find that fun.
He's got a point though, Gerard, because you got to think about it too. When you play PvP, you kind of want to accomplish something other than just winning. In a sense, I mean, you want to win. That's the ultimate point of playing PvP. But like he's saying, like I like that too. When I did PvP arena and stuff like that, that's why I mentioned resilience, because I knew they added resilience when the arena first came out, because they were trying to separate the PvP world and the PvE world, because a lot of people would complain that, oh, these PvEers, well, their mortal strike hits me for like 2,000 because they have this weapon, but I can't do that dungeon because I don't have the guild for that, so I can never get that weapon. But I know he sucks. If I had the same weapon, I would have murked him in 2 seconds. And Mike knows what I mean, because that's how it used to be. It used to be very frustrating, and I know that from being a PvPer. So I completely get that. I get what you're saying. I kind of like it in a sense too, the Final Fantasy route. I guess it's kind of like your preference in a sense, but at the same time, I agree with Mike. I like that. Hey, maybe that rogue or warrior beat me before, but now that I have equivalent gear or close to, I'm whooping his ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I do think we're getting ahead of ourselves with the PvP aspect, because that's not what this is about. This is about First Descendant.
Yeah. I don't even know if they have a PvP yet.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't even know if First Descendant has a PvP. But I would also say one thing about First Descendant is I figured out the issue. Well, not the issue. The issues that they've been having are more than just monetization, because the monetization is mostly behind customization, because the customization in the beta and or preview was like a different system, because what people are complaining about is that customization colors for their palettes are one use only. So if they were using a different character, they would have to get it again, and it's locked behind a gacha system. So it is doubling down. I was like, I have to pay a lot of money to even get what I want in the first place, and I can only use it once. So I'd have to pay again a lot of money to get it again to use it on a different thing. So that is a problem. But there are other issues that are facing around with the game. Gio, you've mentioned it earlier. You want to care to explain the other issues that are going on with the company itself as well?
Well, servers. I don't know what's causing the servers to crash. I don't know if it was maybe they got a bigger player base than they were expecting, but from what I read and came across, actually experienced today, I couldn't even sign into the game at first. I couldn't even get to the start menu. Like, it was like press A to start. I couldn't even see the start screen, like the main screen where you start at. I couldn't even get to that. I couldn't get to the opening cutscene that it does. For the first, like, I want to say, like, I took maybe like an hour or two before I could finally start playing the game. Like, I kind of took a break, jumped into League, played a quick League match. And I read that the server was actually down all day. I believe it was the 3rd and part of the 4th before they got it back up. So I know they were down for almost a day and a half. And they're still experiencing issues with it. Obviously, probably people trying to sign in is not helping. But at the same time, you know, I kind of understand that with games sometimes these days, because sometimes you don't know the turnout you're going to get. And sometimes you can overload the servers. Maybe they didn't expect this game to be as popular as it did right away. So it's annoying. I didn't like it, especially when it's my first day trying to try it. But it happens. I get it. That's the gaming world. You've been a gamer long enough, you know it.
Can't be worse than WoW.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it, but
you know the game. Been out for a long time. How the hell are you having so much issues when it comes out? I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, Blizzard, just leave Blizzard out of this.
Small company.
Yeah, that's why I said leave them out. Leave them out. Just...
And those issues are gonna bite them in the butt, especially for. I'm not talking about Blizzard, by the way.
No. You're talking
about Nexon. It's gonna bite them in the butt because, like, especially with the hype that generated around it. Nexon is the company that makes it. Very popular MapleStory creators. MapleStory was very popular MMO. 2D side-scrolling MMO, especially popular in Korea. So
I was today years old when I found that out.
Makes no sense to me. Anyways, yeah, and those issues are going between both of them. It's going to leave a bad taste in gamers' mouths for that game. So we'll see how they turn it around. With that being said, does anyone have any last things they want to say or anything like that? Make sure it's only a sentence long, meaning 7 words and a period at the end and nothing after.
No, just stop the exploitation.
Got it.
You know, it's funny. The reason why I posted the link is because it's how the chick looks on the thing. That was the only reason why I posted it. Yeah.
Mike is swayed by sexuality, obviously, and video games.
We just talked about it, so I was like,
no, but
let me put it in the chat. And then...
But did you see what I said about the trailer? I was like, well, I've seen mainly cheeks in the beginning, but you know, I mean, it looks good.
All right. Trailers and sexuality once again paying to the male gamers. Anyway, thanks for watching, gamers. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers Podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.